Well, I guess, first of all, can you talk a little bit about tonight's event and your inspiring youth to dream?
Well, you know what? It's great when communities get together to try to help the youth, and I think we complain about them a lot. Mm-hmm. We complain about how they've changed. We complain about what they do, but do they have the same opportunities that we had? And the answer is usually no. And so when people get together to try to do something like this and help a community, it's you got your family, and where I'm from, then you got a big family. That's your community. When you move down here, it's a little different because communities happen to be bigger, it seems, but you still got the gist of it. The gist of it is we got to help kids stay off the streets, put them in places where they have a chance. Instead of us complaining about them, let's do something about it.
Coach, people see you as the basketball coach. How much of this message do you think really gets through to people?
I say I don't worry about it because what I say is from my heart, and I believe it. I had a chance to be the people that influenced me were still back in my hometown. I mean, I have more people back there that have influenced my life than I have in all the people I've met here, and I've actually been down here longer than I was there. So I know how important it is growing up. I know how important it is to be part of a community. I know how important it is to be obligated to somebody and be accountable to somebody. And so I think that, if they don't hear it, it's because they're not listening. And that means it doesn't matter who would be delivering the speech. It would be the same thing. I think it's just very, very, very important that people understand if you want to complain about everything, it's probably not going to get anything done. If you want to be a doer or a complainer.
I know you probably can't be at an event like this without people talking basketball to you. Dick Vitale was in Grand Rapids last week. We were chatting with him a little bit. He said one of the best Tom Izzo coach teams coming up in 2013, 2014. What do you think?
I think Dick's on dial a clue, but no. I think I'm actually going down to his event tomorrow night at the Jimmy V down in Sarasota. But we do have a good team coming back, and we've got something that most people don't have. We have veterans coming back, and 4 of our top 5, 8 of our top 9, or 7 of our top 8, I think, are coming back, and so we should have a good team if I don't screw it up. And and yet in saying that, as we know every year, as you're learning in the NBA right now with Oklahoma City, you got to stay away from injuries. You got to be a little lucky. There's a lot of good teams out there, and I think the difference between each team is getting smaller each year, and our league will be very good, and our non-conference schedule is going to be great again. So a lot of big things for the Spartans. I
know you've always been open to your guys making their own decision when it comes to the NBA and that, but when guys like Gary Harris and Adrian Payne say we're going to be back with you, is it a weight off the shoulders a little bit?
Yeah, I went and got my knees fixed because I was down on them for a couple of weeks begging, but no, it is a tough decision for them, and it's one that you try to give them the best advice you can give them, but people would be surprised. Coaches aren't sitting there begging guys to come back. It's what's best for them. I think too many guys are making poor decisions, and I think in Adrian's case, he's going to graduate almost that semester. I mean, it's just the all-American story. If he can cap it off with, maybe a trip to the Final Four, but for sure graduating and having a great senior year and going on to pro ball a little bit more mature, a little bit more ready. In Gary's case, he was one of the youngest freshmen I've ever had, and but a very mature one. And so we'll see what happens with him. But he's, if he can stay healthy, he's a heck of a player.
You did lose Derek Nix. How do you think he's going to do with his NBA chances next month?
I just talked to him today. He's over there. He's doing all the things, losing more weight and all those things that I begged him to do for 4 years. But now I guess when you're getting your own paycheck, you kind of do it different than supplying somebody else's. So Derek is, he's got a chance. He's got great feet. He's got great hands. And I think he's matured a lot. And immature when he came. Grew up like probably we all did. And he's going to have a chance. He's definitely going to be playing over in Europe. If he gets into a couple camps, who knows where he can hook up.
Yeah.
You did a Q&A before this. What kind of questions did you get at a Q&A with fans? Anything that stands out?
Well, none of them were about basketball, really, about how I started in basketball, and that was good. And, talked a little bit about Mariucci and I, and what we were doing back when most people had dates. We were trying to figure out how we were going to get to Notre Dame or something, and so that was an interesting time in my life. But the questions were great. I still, that's my favorite part. Speaking is okay, but interacting with people is really what it's all about. Talking about stuff that maybe they want to hear instead of stuff that you want them to hear. So there's a fine line in there somewhere.
Yeah. Do you get much sleep? You do a lot of these events like most coaches, but it seems like you do maybe a little bit more than most. I mean, with recruiting, with everything else you have on your plate basketball-wise. Do you look forward to times like this when you can just get up and speak about things that aren't related to basketball? Is this kind of a breath of fresh air? We get to come up and talk about other things?
I like talking about both, but I love talking about things that helps kids. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I got two myself, so I know how important it is. And I'm gone a lot, which even makes it more important that they're getting to be at places that there's good influences around them. And so I think everybody in every job's busy. You guys are busy. We're all busy. It's just the nature of the beast and being successful. If you're going to be great at something, you're probably going to be working more hours than the guy next to you. So I don't look at our job as any different than yours or anybody else's. But I do enjoy being around people. I do enjoy being around people that are trying to help people. And that's a pretty cool part about my job.
I've seen the game in Spokane with Judd kind of going back and forth. We are going to do it. We aren't going to do it. Mark's kind of gone back and forth. Is there one way or another you feel about it, or you think it might happen?
I'm sure glad I'm not the AD because I don't have to worry about those things. It's nothing bad. It's at first one of the schools was not able to play. Then they got the facility, and they had something else in the facility, and there were just all kinds of snags. And then Mark Few was out of the country, and Hollis had to make some decisions. Right now, I think it's leaning to not being done this year just because of the timing of everything. And it was his brainchild again, as all of them are, to try to do something for Judd. We went out there 2 years ago and played. I told Judd if I got to do any more for him, I'm going to lose my job. And then also we got the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Instead of going on Tuesday, it went on Wednesday. And then all of a sudden you're flying out there. So there were a lot of logistical reasons why it's become a little bit of an issue. But I love the concept. Gonzaga and Mark Few's a good friend of mine. And, being anywhere where Judd is worth some laughs. And it's good to be around. But it might be put off for a year.
Is that important to you to schedule something like that down the line then? Something to honor him maybe?
Anything I can do to honor him. We wanted him back last year, if you remember, for that big game we had, and he couldn't make it because he fell coming out of church. I told him he's got to get a little more coordinated. But, anything we can do, but yet I got a program to run too, and when you play a lot of road games as it is, as we do, you got to be careful in your scheduling too. So that's why I leave that up to Hollis. I got enough problems worrying about the things I got to deal with and let him handle those kind of things, to be honest with you.
Coach, you said you've looked forward to Michigan getting back to kind of the main stage, and now that you've got Michigan and Michigan State both kind of on that big stage, is that something that you like seeing?
Well, I'm not sure I look forward to them getting back. I liked it better when they were down, No, I think anytime there's a rivalry, and Michigan State's a rivalry, and, I've been on both sides of the rivalry. I've been on it when we couldn't win a game, and then I've been part of it when they didn't win many games, and those really aren't rivalries. I think now every game's a game. It doesn't matter what one team has done or the other. It's going to probably be a good game, and I guess that's what you hope at, USC, UCLA, or Oklahoma State, or Duke, and Carolina. It's just part of the nature. If you're going to have a good rivalry, then you got to have two good teams, and right now we got two good teams, and hopefully that means there'll be some great water cooler conversations throughout the state.
Good.
Jeez, you guys are mellow.
I was just going to say, I know you wanted the 35-second clock trimmed down.
It wasn't,
how did that go?
It's funny how the social media works, not your media, but the social media.
Well, that's us too now.
Yeah. I just thought it was a good idea. it wasn't my brainchild. It was a lot of guys that talked about it. I just thought, I think I stated that Johnny Dawkins used to play at Duke, the head coach at Stanford, had a great point. He says it's the slowest game in basketball. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, women's basketball got a 30-second clock. NBA's got a 24. Europe is 24 or 30. You know, we're the slowest game in basketball in that respect. I don't think it should go to 24 by any means, but I think 30-second clock would be good for us, good for fans, probably good for media. Game would hopefully go along a little quicker and be beneficial to everybody. So I was in favor of it. It wasn't something I'm losing sleep over if we don't get it or cheering if we do get it. I just thought it was a good idea.